And now, BX Forever presents another RPG Deep Dive.
Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we are going to be looking at something a little bit different. We're going to be taking a look at the Western Lands campaign setting and the Morgansfort adventure module.
And how to use that as a source book to run your own campaigns in basic fantasy role-playing game.
Absolutely, and this is a deep dive that you can follow along with, whether you are a complete newbie to RPGs or a seasoned dungeon master. We've got a lot to cover, so we'll be drawing from a variety of sources. Obviously, the Morgansfort module itself, which is chock full of lore and adventure hooks and maps and all sorts of things. But also, we'll be taking a look at the Western Lands Gazetteer as well, to give us a broader view of the world that Morgansfort is situated in.
Yeah, because you can't just have a town sitting on nothing. You gotta have something around it.
Exactly. So to kind of set the scene for you guys, imagine a world of fallen empires, a bustling frontier fort, and a mysterious island dungeon just begging to be explored.
Yeah, and all of that run using a very simple, elegant rule system. That being the basic fantasy RPG.
So you're saying I don't need like a PhD in rocket science to run this game?
No, not at all. The rules are very, very simple. And in fact, they're free. So you can download them, print them out. Or just read them online if you want to. And it's very easy to pick up.
That's a relief.
Yeah. It really is all about telling a great story and having fun with your friends.
So let's dive into that story then. What can you tell us about the Western Lands as a setting? It sounds like a pretty wild place.
Yeah, it's a land shaped by the echoes of fallen empires. And you've got fractured kingdoms, untamed wilderness. You've got rolling hills, dense forests. And the ever-present threat of the Demon Frost Mountains looming in the distance.
Sounds like the perfect backdrop for adventure. But it's not just a pretty picture, right? This setting is full of different factions, all vying for power, or maybe just trying to survive. Who are the major players we're going to be dealing with here?
Well, you've got the Kavari people, who are descendants of the land's original inhabitants. And they're deeply distrustful of magic. They hold on to their ancient traditions very fiercely.
So they're not going to be too happy about any like flashy magic users waltzing into their territory, are they?
No, they're going to be giving you the side eye for sure. Then you've got the remnants of the Urdish Empire clinging to power on the island of Corvus.
So like a fallen empire, but they're not quite ready to give up the ghost yet.
No, they think they're the rightful rulers, but their methods are very harsh and unforgiving.
Sounds like a recipe for conflict. Anyone else we should be worried about?
You've also got the independent city of Slateholm, which is a haven for escaped slaves and those who operate outside the law.
So kind of like a lawless melting pot. What's the vibe there?
It's kind of got a Wild West feel to it. Fortunes can be made or lost overnight, and the only law is the law of the strongest.
Sounds like my kind of place.
Yeah, it can be exciting, but also very dangerous. And then you've also got whispers of the elves of the Sunset Islands.
Elves. Are we talking like pointy-eared tree huggers or something more mysterious?
Shrouded in mystery, they keep to themselves. Who knows what secrets they hold, what role they might play in your campaign.
Ooh, that's a good hook for a game master to use. Drop some hints about the elves, get the players curious.
Exactly. Let their imaginations run wild.
Okay, so we've got this world full of political intrigue, clashing cultures, and a simmering sense of mystery. Sounds like you could drop players into this world and they'd have a campaign ready-made. But let's not forget about the spiritual side of things. What role does religion play in the Western Lands?
Oh, it's a big one. You've got the Bethite Church, which was once a pillar of faith, but now is just riddled with corruption and hypocrisy.
The classic corrupt church trope.
Yeah. More concerned with power and wealth than true piety. Then you've got the Reformed Church of Ta. They're striving to restore faith and virtue to the land. They believe in the true teachings of Ta.
So they're kind of like the rebels trying to shake things up.
Exactly. They're often at odds with the Bethite Church, creating tension and conflict wherever their paths cross. And then you've got a heretical offshoot of the Reformed Church that worships Sheta. They believe that Sheta is a god co-equal with Ta.
So like a religious schism within a schism.
Exactly. And they're considered heretics by the mainstream Reformed Church.
Okay, so we've got a world full of political intrigue, clashing cultures, a simmering religious conflict. It sounds like you could drop players into this world and they would have a campaign ready-made. But where's the best place to actually start the adventure?
That's where Morgansfort comes in. It's a frontier fortress that acts as a beacon of civilization in this wild land.
So kind of like the last outpost of order before you head into the wilds?
Exactly. It's this bustling hub full of life and energy. Merchants hawking their wares, adventurers swapping stories, rumors swirling like dust devils in the wind.
Ooh, I'm already picturing it. Busy market square, rough and tumble tavern, maybe a shady back alley or two.
Oh, you got it. All of that and more. The module provides a wonderfully detailed map of the fort highlighting key locations like the market square. You've got the rough and tumble Toothless Dragon Tavern and the slightly more upscale Iron Helm Inn.
So, options for every kind of player. You want to get into a bar fight, Toothless Dragon's the place. You want something a little bit fancier, Iron Helm.
Exactly. And then you also got the Chapel of St. Quirrell, where the faithful can seek solace and guidance from the clerics of the Reformed Church of Ta.
Always good to have a place to heal up those wounds, both physical and spiritual.
Absolutely. Morgansfort's got something for everyone.
But a fort's only as interesting as the people in it, right? Are there any particular characters in Morgansfort that you think would be especially interesting to focus on?
Absolutely. There are a few that stand out. Got Gerald Lothera. He's a shrewd trader. Seems to have his fingers in every pie.
Sounds like the kind of guy who knows where all the bodies are buried. Or maybe he's the one burying them.
Could be either or. He's a valuable source of information, but he always has a price. And then there's May and Bray. They're the local herbalist, but they also dabble in potions and poisons.
Ooh, a little bit of a wild card there. You never know what you're going to get with man.
Exactly. Depends what side of him you're on. And if you're looking for a good time or maybe a way to lose all your money, you need to meet Bargus.
Bargus, who's that?
He runs the secret gambling den, hidden away from the prying eyes of the authorities.
So if the players are feeling lucky, or maybe just reckless.
Exactly. And of course, no adventure is complete without a visit to the local blacksmith.
Oh yeah, gotta get that gear upgraded. Who's the go-to guy in Morgansfort?
Rugar. He's friendly, he's reliable, and he can forge just about anything, as long as you can pay for it, of course.
Quality work ain't cheap. All right, so we've got this bustling fort, we've got a cast of colorful characters, but what's the leadership situation like? Every good story needs a bit of conflict at the top right.
You are absolutely right. The Baron, the rightful ruler of Morgansford, is absent, leaving his young son, Baronet Holden Rathwin, in charge.
Oh, so a bit of a regency situation going on.
Exactly.
Oh.
Holden is capable, but he's young and inexperienced. Relies heavily on the guidance of the aging bailiff Tamandy.
So you've got this dynamic between youthful idealism and world-weary cynicism.
Precisely. Tamandy's loyal to the Baron, but he also resents his frontier posting. Yearns for the comforts of the capital. And of course, you can't forget the military presence in Morgansford.
Right, you gotta have some muscle to protect the fort from whatever's lurking out there in the wilds. Who's running the show on that front?
The garrison's led by two experienced knights, Sir Kellen and Sir Galladon.
Okay, so a classic good cop, bad cop situation. Or maybe more like lawful good versus lawful neutral.
Something like that. Sir Kellen is pragmatic, focused on maintaining order and security. Sir Galladon is a devout follower of the Reformed Church of Ta, sees his duty as a holy calling. So you've got this potential for conflict between the two of them, one driven by duty to the crown, the other by faith.
I like it. Already I'm seeing the seeds of a campaign sprouting here. But a fort full of internal conflict isn't enough, is it? What kind of threats are lurking out there in the wilderness, waiting to test the mettle of our players?
Oh, the module does not disappoint on that front. There are rumors of orc raids plaguing the countryside, stealing livestock, terrorizing travelers.
Orcs. Classic. Can't go wrong with a good orc raid.
But these aren't your mindless savage orcs. They have their own motivations, their own culture.
Ooh, so maybe there's a chance for diplomacy or even an alliance. Or maybe they're just really good at making excuses for their pillaging.
You never know. That's the beauty of it. And then you've got whispers of a necromancer searching for an ancient underground complex.
A necromancer? Okay, now things are getting serious. What's this guy up to?
It's rumored to be filled with powerful artifacts and forbidden knowledge. This storyline has the potential to be the main thread of your campaign, with the necromancer as a recurring villain who grows in power as the players progress.
So you start small. Maybe the players have a run-in with some of his low-level undead minions, and then as they level up, they face bigger and badder challenges, culminating in a showdown with the necromancer himself.
Exactly. You could even have him raising undead armies trying to take over Morgansford.
Ooh, high stakes.
And then there's the rumor of a boat concealed somewhere in the swamp south of the collapsed bridge.
A hidden boat? Sounds intriguing. What's the story there?
Well, some say it's filled with treasure. Others say it's something far more sinister. Could be either or maybe both.
Ooh, a good old-fashioned treasure hunt with a side of spooky mystery. I'm in.
And then you've got the legend of a magic sword. Belongs to a long-dead barbarian chieftain. It's said to be incredibly powerful, capable of cleaving through steel and imbuing its wielder with incredible strength.
A legendary magic sword. Every adventurer's dream. Where is it? Who's got it?
Those are the questions your players will have to answer.
Sounds like we've got a good mix of threats here. Something for everyone. Classic dungeon crawling, political intrigue, moral dilemmas. But it seems like all these threads, these rumors and whispers, all point towards a specific location.
Right. You're catching on. All these storylines seem to converge on the Old Island Fortress.
The Old Island Fortress.
Oh.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. Tell me more.
It's a crumbling ruin just off the coast of Morgansfort. The module describes it as a 2-level dungeon, perfect for introducing new players to the thrill of dungeon crawling.
So it's like a classic dungeon crawl, but with ties to all these other storylines.
Exactly. You could use the Old Island Fortress as a springboard for an entire campaign, or just as a fun side adventure for your players.
Lots of options. I like it.
And the fortress itself is full of all sorts of interesting encounters, from mundane threats like sturges and kobolds to more terrifying foes like ghouls and carnivorous apes.
Ghouls and carnivorous apes. They're just trying to scare me.
And let's not forget about the traps. The Old Island Fortress is riddled with them.
Oh yeah, gotta have traps, pits, spikes, swinging blades, the whole shebang.
Exactly. Keeps things interesting.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's dive into this Old Island Fortress and see what kind of adventure awaits us within its crumbling walls.
Sounds like a plan.
But before we do that, I think we should take a quick break.
Good idea. We've covered a lot of ground already.
When we come back, we'll delve into the dangers and treasures that lie hidden within the Old Island Fortress. Yeah, let's get into it. What kind of dangers are we talking about here?
Well, the module describes a 2-level dungeon, and it's kind of cleverly designed so that it provides a graduated challenge. You know, you can tailor the experience to your players.
So like easier encounters on the upper levels, and then things get progressively tougher as you go deeper.
Exactly. So you might start them off against some more mundane threats like sturges.
Sturges? What are those, like giant mosquitoes or something?
Pretty much, they're nasty little blood-sucking bats.
Oh, fun.
Or you could throw some kobolds at them.
Ah, kobolds. Gotta love those pesky little guys. Always up to no good.
Exactly. Those would be good challenges for new adventurers,
Yeah.
but as they descend deeper into the fortress, they'll encounter some more formidable foes.
Like what? Give me the spooky stuff.
We're talking ghouls, lurking in the shadows, hungry for living flesh.
Ghouls. Oh man, that's creepy.
And then you've got carnivorous apes, deceptively strong and agile,
Sure.
ready to pounce from the darkness.
Oh man, I can already picture it. Dark, damp dungeon, the smell of decay in the air, and suddenly these glowing eyes appear in the darkness.
Yeah, you got to really play up the atmosphere.
Oh, absolutely. Make the players feel like they're really there, trapped in this place where danger could be lurking around every corner.
Exactly.
But it's not just monsters and creepy atmosphere, right? What about traps?
Oh, the Old Island Fortress is riddled with traps.
Give me some examples.
Imagine your players stepping into the entrance room, only to trigger a pit trap. Sends them plummeting into darkness.
Classic.
Or maybe they stumble into a dust-filled storage room.
Ooh, and the slightest spark could set off a fiery explosion.
Exactly.
What other devious traps have you got up your sleeve?
The module mentions a spear-wielding statue guarding a treasure chest.
Oh, that's a good one. You could describe the statue coming to life, its stone eyes glowing with malevolent energy.
As it lunges at the unsuspecting players.
This is getting intense. We should have brought snacks for this deep dive.
Maybe next time.
So we've got monsters, we've got traps, but this dungeon isn't just a collection of encounters, right? It's a place with a history, a story to tell.
Absolutely. And that's where some of the more unique encounters come in.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Well, imagine your players discovering a secret hallway hidden behind a crumbling wall. Leads to a hidden chamber where a treasure chest awaits.
Ooh, a secret treasure chamber.
But is it really treasure? Or is it a trap? Or maybe something even more valuable than gold lies within?
Ooh, now you're making me think. What could be more valuable than gold?
Knowledge, artifacts, secrets, who knows?
Love it. The thrill of discovery. The mystery. What else? What other secrets does this dungeon hold?
Then there's a grand hall. Once a place of splendor, now a decaying reminder of the fortress's former glory.
I can picture it. Crumbling pillars, cobwebs everywhere, maybe a faded tapestry still clinging to the wall.
The module describes a damaged statue in the center of the hall, its base concealing a trapped chest.
Of course there's a trap chest. Maybe the real treasure is the statue itself.
Could be. Maybe it contains clues to the fortress's history. or even a magical artifact.
So many possibilities.
And then there's the mural room.
Mural room, what's that?
Imagine walls covered in faded paintings depicting scenes from the fortress's past.
Like a visual history of the place.
Exactly. But legend has it that touching these paintings could transport the players into those scenes.
Whoa, like they're stepping into a living history book.
Exactly. They could be forced to relive the events of long ago.
Oh man, that's cool. What kind of scenes would you envision?
Perhaps a scene depicting the fortress under siege, with the players forced to defend the walls against hordes of invaders.
Oh, that would be epic.
Or maybe a scene showing a ritual being performed.
Ooh, a ritual. Sounds ominous.
Perhaps it offers clues to the necromancer's plans.
Okay, now that's just creepy. I love how this dungeon isn't just about fighting monsters. It's about unraveling mysteries, experiencing history firsthand.
It's a multi-layered experience.
But I have a feeling there's one final challenge waiting for us in this fortress.
Right. You are right. The ultimate test lies at the heart of the old island fortress, the tomb of the barbarian chieftain.
Okay, so this is it. The big boss battle, the culmination of all those previous encounters.
Imagine a sealed chamber, guarded by restless undead, the air thick with the stench of decay and the weight of ancient magic.
Ooh, sounds spooky.
The tomb itself is said to be sealed with powerful enchantments, protecting the chieftain's remains and the treasures buried with him.
So the players are going to have to figure out a way to break those seals.
Exactly. And then they'll have to face whatever lies within.
Which brings us to the big question. What kind of barbarian chieftain are we talking about here?
That's where your creativity as a game master comes in. You can fleck out the chieftain's backstory, their motivations, the circumstances of their death.
Was he a noble warrior, a ruthless conqueror, a tragic hero?
It's up to you. The module provides a framework, but the details are yours to fill in.
I like that. Gives the game master a lot of freedom to make the story their own.
And once they're inside the tomb, things get really interesting. The module actually provides 3 versions of this encounter, each with its own level of challenge.
3 versions. Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
In the standard version, the players face the undead guardians. They claim the treasures within the tomb, and they call it a day. A classic dungeon crawl ending.
Nice and straightforward. But you said there were other versions.
Yes. In the second version, as the players are looting the tomb, a warrior steps out of one of the murals on the wall.
Wait, what? Like the paintings come to life?
Exactly. This seemingly inanimate figure suddenly leaps into action, wielding a spectral weapon driven by an ancient oath to protect the tomb.
Oh, that's a cool twist. The dungeon itself is fighting back.
Exactly. Blurs the lines between reality and the echoes of the past.
I like it. But you said there was a third version. What happens in that one?
In the most challenging version, the chieftain himself rises from the dead.
The chieftain. Like a zombie barbarian.
More like a mummy, transformed by the magic that has preserved his body for centuries.
Oh man, that's epic.
Imagine this ancient warrior, his eyes burning with unholy fire, his body wrapped in decaying bandages,
Wielding his legendary sword.
and driven by a thirst for vengeance against those who dare disturb his slumber.
That's a boss battle for the ages. How do you even begin to run an encounter like that?
Well, you got to think about the chieftain's motivations. Why has he returned? What does he want? Is he just driven by rage? Or is there a more complex agenda at play?
Maybe he's been corrupted by the necromancer's magic.
Could be. Or maybe he seeks to reclaim his lost kingdom. Or maybe he's just really grumpy about being woken up from his eternal slumber.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I can relate to that. So, the players defeat the chieftain, they claim his magic sword, and they live happily ever after.
Not so fast. That doesn't mean the story's over. What happens to the sword? Does it fall into the hands of another faction? Does it become a source of power for the players, or does it corrupt them?
Ooh, good point. The possibilities are endless. But let's step back for a moment and consider the broader implications of this module. We've explored the setting, delved into the fort itself, faced the challenges of the dungeon. What can you tell us about the possibilities for crafting an entire campaign using this sourcebook as a foundation?
Well, remember those rumors and whispers we talked about earlier? Those are just a few threads that you as a game master can use to weave a truly epic campaign.
So the orc raids the necromancer, the hidden boat, the magic sword. They can all be connected.
Exactly. Interwoven to create a narrative that spans multiple sessions, leading your players on a grand adventure across the Western lands.
I'm starting to get a sense of the scope here. This isn't just a one-shot adventure. This is a whole world waiting to be explored.
And it's all powered by this very simple, elegant rule system. Basic fantasy RPG. You don't need a ton of books or complicated mechanics, just a set of dice and your imagination.
It's all about the story.
Exactly. And Morgansfort is the perfect place to start that story.
So we've spent this deep dive really exploring Morgansfort and the Western lands. We've looked at the factions and the religions and the dungeon and even the rumors and whispers. But now I want to turn it over to you listening at home.
Yeah, imagine you are standing at the gates of Morgansfort.
You've traveled from far and wide. Maybe you've heard stories of the riches and the dangers that await within.
Maybe you're seeking your fortune. Maybe you're running from your past.
Or maybe you're just drawn to adventure. Whatever the reason you find yourself here at this crossroads.
The gates of Morgansfort stand open before you.
What compels you to step through those gates and into this world?
What kind of hero will you become in the Western lands?
Will you be a noble knight upholding justice and defending the weak?
Or a cunning rogue operating in the shadows, always looking out for number one?
Maybe a wise mage delving into the secrets of the arcane.
Or a devout cleric healing the sick and guiding the lost?
The choice is yours. The possibilities are endless, and the world of Morgansfort is waiting.
The Morgansfort module and the basic fantasy system are just the beginning.
They're tools that you can use to create your own stories, to explore your own ideas, and to share those experiences with your friends.
So gather your group, grab your dice, and step into the Western lands.
Adventure awaits. That's it for this deep dive into the world of Morgansfort and the basic fantasy RPG system.
We hope we've inspired you to try something new.
To tell your own stories. And most importantly, to have fun.